but the effect of them when they are played out to their extent are heavy or light depending on if a nation chooses selfishness in its ways of business or unselfishness. Now you might be thinking, how can this be simple? Well, if you think about it, the human condition is really about thoughts and actions to oneself or to others that are either selfish or unselfish, and or to others. That brings about only 16 combinations of human actions. And I'm going to list them out because there's only 16 combinations. If you think about it, because there's, let's say, thoughts, actions, oneself, others, and selfish and unselfish. And they're in groups of 2, and there's 3 groups, so 16. If you do the math. But actions, here's the combinations. Actions that are selfish for others, actions that are unselfish for others, actions that are selfish for oneself, actions that are unselfish for oneself, actions and thoughts that are selfish for oneself, actions and thoughts that are unselfish for others, actions and thoughts that are selfish for oneself and others, actions and thoughts that are unselfish for oneself and others, thoughts that are selfish for oneself, thoughts that are selfish for others, thoughts that are unselfish for others, thoughts that are unselfish for oneself, thoughts that are selfish for oneself and others, thoughts that are unselfish for oneself and others, and that's only thoughts, and actions that are selfish for oneself and others. Actions that are, one more. Actions that are unselfish for oneself and others, and actions that are unselfish for oneself and others. Maybe I duplicated. Actions that are selfish. No, actions that are selfish for oneself and others. Actions that are unselfish for oneself and others. A thought alone, now this is going on, a thought by itself has more consequences than an action by itself. A thought is electrical impulses from the brain. Sorry about that spiel. I had to, if you think about it, well, maybe I'll type it up and put it on a slide because that'll be a lot easier to see. So going on, a thought by itself has more consequences than an action by itself. A thought is electrical impulses from the brain and is heard by spirits. And I just proved that there is spirits. If the test is redone by a pelagic of some sort, and if he or she moves or thinks about moving his or her leg, and there's a voltmeter that can sense voltages through the air, and put in a really sensitive degree so that you can catch any degree of voltage, and he or she moves that leg or arm, then you will, throughout seconds, you will see a wavering of voltages. Consequence to each of the two opposite characteristics, selfish and unselfish, are polar opposites. A thought of selfishness with an action of unselfishness causes more selfish consequences to the person in selfish thought than the person receiving the unselfish action. So if a person comes up to someone and gives him a cookie but hates it because it's his cookie and he doesn't want to give the cookie away, then the person who gave the cookie away is receiving more harm than the person who has the cookie now, who he gave the cookie away to. But the person receiving the unselfish action could also be the person who had the selfish thought, so he could, buy a cookie for himself and not like that he bought the cookie for himself because he thinks he doesn't deserve it for some reason, and in that case has more of a selfish consequence to himself, or the same selfish consequence to himself, whether it's giving the cookie to someone else or getting it for himself. This is kind of psychology here. But because thoughts carry more consequential weight than that of actions when actions are unselfish. Also, that person doing the unselfish action with a selfish thought is receiving more evil consequences because spirits are listening to those thoughts and are reacting to them. Spirits are equal to the physical realm because they have choices too, and their choices cause either selfishness or unselfishness to themselves and others, or others, both physical and spiritual. All things with a spirit can decipher, and I'm talking about a spirit like a human embodiment, just looks like a human spirit outside of a body. So I'm not thinking like, weird, strange monsters or anything like that. Nothing, nothing Dungeons and Dragon-ish. So, all things with a spirit can decipher the thoughts of spirits if it is needed to accomplish the goals of ultimate selfishness or ultimate unselfishness. Both ultimates need the energy created by itself in that ultimality. For that ultimality, really. The more belief in those ultimalities that a person and or a group of people give it, then the higher the chances are that they will be controlled by the one they choose. However, the selfish ultimality does not want anything for your good, because it is selfish. How can an ultimality of selfishness cause any unselfishness or want to share knowledge or goods with anything else? If you think about it, then you can see that you won't want to believe in a 100% selfish being. You will be destroyed if you believe in it 100%. I'm not saying that everybody doesn't deserve to know about the selfishness of that entity, but I'm just saying that it will never satisfy your needs for shelter, food, clothing, knowledge, or any other good or service that can be imagined. It is there to destroy belief in even itself, because if no one believes in it, then it can tell you how to do things, and you wouldn't even believe that it's destroying you because, oh yeah, it doesn't exist, so these must be my thoughts. Who can tell you something if that who isn't there? Quote, who isn't there, On the other hand, believing in the ultimate unselfish entity will allow you to gain everything that there is to gain, because you will become unselfish by believing in that unselfishness. Yeah, it's that simple, because when you give unselfishly, think about gaining knowledge, but not to compete with anyone, but to share it with everyone, you will become more unselfish. When you gain items of worth like land, gold, houses, boats, cars, and other things, you can use these things to help others and yourself by teaching yourself and others, giving to charities and helping them become unselfish by letting go of their grasp on everything. But remember that unselfishness is used both for yourself and others, so giving yourself things and knowledge is just as important as giving others things and knowledge. So it's not like, oh, don't give to yourself because you got to give to others. No, you got to give to yourself and others. I mean, as soon as you receive something, doesn't mean you have to give it away. You just receive it, and then as soon as you have enough for what you need, you just give the rest away. I mean, who needs 10 cars? Which car am I going to drive today? I don't know, the Lamborghini or the Bugatti? Let's drive the Bugatti. And it's like, it's $1 million car. Well, who? That's insane. Why are you going to buy $1 million car? Yeah, it's nice to have a Bugatti, but it goes through 1 gallon every 60 seconds, I hear. So anyways, there are also 4 combinations of sanity, because of the opposites or antonyms for each phrase within the definition of insanity. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again while expecting different results. With that in mind, you can add 3 more by finding the opposites to the phrases. Same thing to the phrases same thing and different results. Those are the 2 that I'll find the opposites for, and you switch them around 3 times, or 4 combinations. So Within the definition of insanity, the four combinations are doing the same thing over and over again while expecting the different results. Same thing, different results, insanity. Doing a different thing over and over again while expecting the same results, insanity also. Well, insane. Doing the same thing over and over again while expecting the same results, so doing the same thing, expecting the same results is good, so it's sanity. And doing different things over and over again while expecting different results is also sanity. That's all I got for today. So, anyways, I'll add later. I'll add more later. So, anyways, I'm kind of ending it. So, thank you. Bye.